Hey y'all, welcome back to Gadfly, the podcast about third parties, fringe candidates, and just generally weird American electoral history. I'm Dusty Wilson.
I'm Una O'Leary.
Oh wait, Una, oh my god. All right, I have something coming here through the newswire. Oh my god, it's Rocky news.
Rocky news!
So for y'all newcomers, Rocky De La Fuente is he's the topic of the very first episode that we did. He ran for Senate in 9 states at once. He has run for president multiple times as a Democrat, as a Republican, as his own party, as other parties. He's done it all. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news on this, but Rocky has officially dropped out of the Republican race for president.
The Republican race.
Yeah, it was a real sad time. But the good news is Rocky De La Fuente is now the presidential candidate of the Alliance Party.
Oh boy, that is new. My money was on resurgence of Delta Party.
Oh my god, if you brought back the American Delta Party, that would have been great. I have no clue what the Alliance Party is. I've never heard of it. It might just be Rocky creating something.
Oh,
which I kind of think it is, because his vice presidential nominee is a guy named Darcy Richardson, who was one of the people considered to be running for the Reform Party this year. So, this might be Rocky's attempt to have his own party and get in with the Reform Party once again.
Ooh, and yeah, the Alliance Party is what happens when you have to drop out of a legitimate party and you also have been binge watching Battlestar Galactica.
Look, if Rocky guarantees that I will never have to face a Cylon in my life,
or he's looking for the Cylon vote. Either
God damn it. Rocky, I swear, if you're a Cylon and that's how you've been running so many campaigns, you will break my heart. So that's the Rocky news thus far, where we'll keep you up to date on all things Rocky De La Fuente, and by default, his son, Ricardo De La Fuente, who's actually running for Congress in Texas.
I still picks where he doesn't exist.
It's no, that's Rocky De La Fuente III, the son who there are no pictures of, who I am so sure isn't real. I don't know.
God.
If he sends us a picture, that will be an official holiday for this podcast. So on that note, why don't we dive back into the Natural Law Party?
Oh yes.
Oh, have I showed you a picture of John Hagelin yet?
No.
Oh, I gotta show you a picture of this young man. Because when he ran, he was like a little older than both of us.
That's so upsetting. More for myself.
Yeah, this is his good one. This is one that looks like everyone at the university went to Sears and got their pictures taken.
He looks like a Caucasian Randall Park.
Oh my god. Yep. That is spot fucking on. So, 1992 had been an incredibly embarrassing year for the brand new Natural Law Party. Not only had they lost multiple times on the international stage, but they had lost very badly in multiple nations. So the Natural Law Party in America would need a serious turnaround to maintain any kind of relevance beyond late-night talk show joke. And John Hagelin went about just that, in his own way. So one of the sticking points of the party was its insistence that transcendental meditation would be the end-all be-all solution to American problems. But despite previous, very flawed experiments, the NLP hadn't been able to convince the world that they were right. So, in 1993, John Hagelin ran his own study of the Maharishi effect. As a refresher, the Maharishi effect is the belief that if a certain percentage of the population of an area were to meditate all at once, that bad things would reduce and good things would rise. So crime would go down, crop yields would go up. For John Hagelin's study, he would return to the city that the Maharishi bemoaned as, quote, a pool of mud and a waste for the transcendental meditation movement's mental energy, Washington, D.C. The Maharishi had tried for a decade to lower the crime rate in D.C., but had repeatedly failed, despite them sometimes claiming that they hadn't failed. One of the biggest issues of this, though, was that D.C., like many other cities at the time, had been hit very hard by the crack cocaine epidemic. Last I checked, the issues of crack don't exactly go away when you meditate.
No.
But this was going to be Hagelin's chance to not just show the world, but his guru, that they were right all along. John's plan was to get 4,000 yogic flyers in the DC metro area, beginning on June 1st of 1993, and have them meditate in unison until July 30th. They would then track the rate of violent crime using data created by the FBI and obtained through the DC police, and note the reduction of crime if one occurred. They obtained crime data from the previous 5 years as well, as info of variables such as weather, daylight, changes in police and community anti-crime activities, prior trends in crime, and crime trends in neighboring cities. Of these variables, Temperature was heavily favored as a catalyst for violent crime, but it's definitely a thing that is a lot deeper than heat makes people violent. Hagelin and his team, though, would use temperature as the control variable for expected crime. By the end of the 8-week study, a miracle had occurred. Violent crime had dropped an average of 18%. By the last week, crime was down by 23.3%. Hagelin and his team predicted that, at this rate, if a team of 4,000 yogic flyers were to remain permanently in the city, crime would fall by 48%. These findings would be self-published by the Maharishi University of Management Scientific Journal and then gifted to the world.
The original ebook.
Yeah, before Amazon just let you publish bullshit. You could just start a university, create your own printing press.
Check out my series. It's $5.99.
Oh my God. It's Sasquatch erotica. Don't ask why. Just read.
It's always Sasquatch erotica.
It's $1.99. Just help me out. We're all indoors. Read something new. And so after gifting this to the world had some questions.
Like, where's the receipt and how do I give it back? How do I return this?
The day after the study concluded, a piece from the New York Times was published, where someone involved in the study claimed that crime had dropped by 23.6% by week 4. But when looking at the data from the research summary, their own graph shows that crime had only dropped by about 2%. Also, the study never once had 4,000 participants there all at once. People would kind of fly in. It started off with 500, and then there was 2,500, and then some people left for some reason. Yeah. And then by weeks 7 and 8, they had about 3,750 participants.
Yeah, probably because people were like, oh, right, I'm hungry, and this is not paying for food.
I mean, technically, I think they were paid. I don't know how much, but they were.
What?
This was paid.
Oh, now I'm angry. All right.
Yeah, because this is kind of part of the whole thing that whenever people would say, oh, you lowered crime in this place, why'd you leave? And they're like, well, we have to pay people. We can't just have them, give up everything and meditate all day. We have to give them money. They have to be fed. It costs money to do this. So yeah, they didn't even have half the amount that they had initially required to reduce crime until about week 5 when they finally crossed 2,000 people. The biggest hit, though, came when the Times quoted a source from the DC police. Now, the DC police were asked, hey, these people are doing this meditation thing. Has crime gone down? And I'm going to paraphrase what the DC police said. We are not going to even mention anything involving the transcendental meditation movement. What we say after this does not involve them, but completely separately, the murder rate is the same. A more long-term look at DC during that time paints an even worse picture. The murder rate had hit a weekly record of death while Hagelin's team was there, and in 1993, the city had its most violent year on record. So what fucking gives? How the hell did Hagelin conclude they had dropped crime by an average of 18%? You see, John wasn't basing his findings on the number of crimes that had been committed. What he and his team had done was create a computer formula to estimate the number of crimes they expected to occur. And since there was a lot of science behind temperature and violent crime, the numbers were heavily swayed by temperature. It also just so happened that July of 1993 was the hottest July in DC since the National Weather Service began tracking that info in 1871. So with his algorithm favoring record highs, it predicted record violence. A violence so outlandish that it would have been 18% greater than the record-breaking year the city actually had. So no matter what, Hagelin's predicted numbers would have set them up for an appearance of success.
He tried to minority report this.
Yep.
Shame on him. That's so dumb.
And especially when they have so much data to work with to begin with, they just throw it all away and they're just like, it's hot, murder.
The leaps and hoops and thinking that people will go to rather than, create jobs and try to improve a tax base decimated by the white flight.
Yep.
Is astounding. And then instead it's like, motherfucker, you're just waiting for some woman in a milk bath to tell you who might kill his wife.
Well, yeah, it's essentially, it's like, oh, more of us are getting murdered, and they're saying, you're welcome, we helped you. But this study was about to launch John to the heights that Nature magazine had predicted back in 1991. The man that had been destined to receive the Nobel Prize for his work in groundbreaking field theory was about to attain the exact fucking opposite in 1994. The Ig Nobel Prize was created by the Annals of Improbable Research, a science-based humor magazine, and works as science's counterpart to the Razzies. Previous winners to 1994 included Jacques Benvissis's discovery that water is not just intelligent, but also retains memory, a study conducted by a team of Japanese scientists that found that people who think they have smelly feet typically have smelly feet, and people who don't think their feet smell typically have pretty decent feet.
I just want to put a pin in that. And so it's like, bless the scientist who finds a way to get grant money for his fetish.
I know, right? Look, we all have a dream, and some of us just fulfill it in different ways.
You get yours.
Probably my personal favorite, though, that had won prior to John was the inventor of a product called AutoVision, which was a projector that would allow someone to watch TV while driving.
Oh boy, bring that back, please.
Yeah, like I can kind of see how that would work, but also I could see people just bitching about the quality.
Oh my god.
Like, no, you have to be able to see through fucking Cheers. You can't just...
The resolution is so shitty and there's never anything on. It's like you're going the wrong way down a one-way street.
So after all of his hard work in DC, John would receive his singular non-TM based accolade, the 1994 Ig Nobel Peace Prize. I'm not sure if it was the same then, but the 2019 version of the award is a statue made of a coffee cup, and it's filled with a toothbrush and a $1 scratch lotto card.
That's so great.
It also looks like some people actually show up to get their awards too.
Oh, yeah.
Because some of the things that people have won for are things where it's like, I understand why you wrote this. And, well, one of them was this Marine had gotten bit by a rattlesnake, and for some reason he had heard a myth that if you electrocute yourself, that can get rid of the venom. And so he hooked himself up to a car battery.
Holy shit.
And these two physicians wrote a paper about how, no, you cannot envenom yourself with electricity. And they ended up winning the Ig Nobel Prize.
And then appearing on Mythbusters the very next day, right?
Exactly, yeah. It was great. Yeah, apparently also there's a Nobel Prize winner who's also won the Ig Nobel Prize.
Ooh.
For like lifting a magnetized frog or something like that. It was something really weird. But
that's awesome.
It's definitely a lot cooler and smarter than the Razzies, I would say.
Yeah.
So while John Hagelin was busy winning his satire trophy, the Natural Law Party was in the midst of its first midterm election, and it was actually a bit of an improvement. They were running at least 35 candidates for Congress, Senate, and Governor, more than they had run in 1992. One big fuck-up, though, is that after performing decently well in Arizona's 1st and 3rd districts in 1992, they didn't run anyone there in 1994. Once again, they didn't get a ton of votes. Only 2 candidates were able to get more than 3% of the vote in any of their federal races. But of those 2, one would overtake the most votes that they had received in 1992. There isn't a ton out there about Kate Ross, but the little I found tells this. She was born in Massachusetts and eventually moved to Cambridge. It's there that she discovered the transcendental meditation movement, and in the 70s, she would follow her best friend to Seelisberg, Switzerland, to work as part of the Maharishi's international staff. Eventually, she'd move to Fairfield, Iowa, and in 1994, she would return to Massachusetts' 2nd District and continue the tradition of the best performers not living where they ran. But at least Kate had lived in the district previously. I can't find what it was specifically that made Ross perform so well, but it probably helped that she was running in a very safe Democratic district where people would feel safe voting for a third party. But whatever she did, it was enough for her to get 5.08% of the vote, finishing 3rd out of 3. And just like the former champ, Pamela Volpone, Kate Ross would never run for office again.
Sometimes you just want to dip your toe in.
Look, I kind of get it if they're just like, we need you to leave. I don't know. I don't want to say Fairfield, Iowa is like a holy city, but like the place where everything is happening. Like, we need you to leave here to go to Massachusetts and not Boston. You have to go to like Worcester or somewhere like that.
Real Western Massachusetts that no one thinks about.
Yeah, like we need you to leave Fairfield, Iowa and go to Prescott, Arizona. Best of luck. So while 1994 was a bit of a quiet year for the party, 1996 would shape into the big coming out for the NLP.
Ooh.
One of the quotes that John Hagelin would often say throughout the year was that 1992 was all about getting the message across, and hopefully getting the major parties to adopt their platform. But after Bush ignored them and Clinton, quote, read their proposals and adopted some of their language, he seemed to just move on and forget about it. So now, the Natural Law Party's new motto was, if you can't join them, beat them. The Natural Law Party was about to make a major push, and on February 9th, 1996, John Hagelin held a press conference to unveil their plans. I'm very excited and very proud to be able to announce today that we have become America's third largest party. Hold for applause that doesn't happen. Also, I would like to point out that in 1992, they made the exact same quote.
Yeah.
They said that they were the biggest third party in America. So I guess it took until 1996 for that to actually happen. Still fucking debatable.
Well, they were expecting so many more third parties. So based on that projected number of third parties, they are the biggest third party.
Yes. John would continue to say, in those key respects of registered voters in many states, number of candidates for sure, we have 200 candidates already on the ballot in just 3 states, for Congress, for state and local offices. We intend to have at least 1,000 candidates on the ballot in all 50 states by November of next year, and that has never been achieved by a third party before. So something really fucking petty about this drives me nuts. And it's those goddamn little qualifiers. Just like, no one's ever done this in all 50 states. And he says that because parties have absolutely done it when there were less states in the whole country.
Wow.
All you have to do is go back to be between 1912 and 1916, and both the socialist and prohibition parties were doing that on the fucking regular. It wasn't a goddamn deal for them until World War I. But before then, it was great. They easily got on the ballot everywhere. So this fucking qualifier drives me goddamn nuts because it ignores history and tries to make them seem more important than they am. Why am I so mad about this?
He says he's a scientist, but he should have been a lawyer.
And to make matters a little more fun, a reporter that was there asked why he wasn't counting the Libertarian presidential nominee in 92, because apparently he was on the ballot in all 50 states. John was like, well, they didn't have candidates on the ballot in all 50 states. It's a different thing that we're looking for. So this is like someone who was like, yes, I am the first person to climb Mount Everest with only one shoe, walking backwards half the time. And when I got to the top, I was the first to sing Wonderwall.
Therefore, I am the first.
Yes.
Asterisk. Do not read the footnote.
But either way, the Natural Law Party's goals were set. 1,000 candidates, all 50 states.
Fly, yogis, fly.
Fuck off. The 1996 platform was also essentially the same as 1992. They wanted to focus on prevention-based healthcare, campaign finance reform via the end of all PACs, but they also added in a couple of new ideas. The first is a motherfucking flat tax.
Gotta make flat tax happen.
We gotta make Steve Forbes smile. Flat taxes, bitches. So their plan was to introduce a 19% flat tax starting in 1997. Drop that shit down to 10% by 2001, and that would lead to balancing the budget by 1999.
Such bullshit.
It's a bunch of numbers. Sounds good to me. I don't know what the tax rate is right now, but it kind of sounds like more, but I really don't know. John also proposed the idea of creating schools designed entirely as incubators for new educational ideas. The Natural Law Party would want to create a dozen of these schools, run them through the Department of Education, and the most successful of the experiments would then be implemented by schools across the country. John had stated that he wanted most of these schools to be for quote-unquote normal kids, but there would also be schools for highly gifted students and those who had less access to appropriate education, as he put it. One of the problems I kind of see with this is admittedly, I think on paper is kind of a cool idea. You might as well have a place where you're testing things out and see what works. But you're also testing things out on kids who need good grades to get into school.
Yeah, and need an education. Yeah, let me tell you what white suburban women do not want to hear in terms of
I'm sorry, your kid didn't get into Montessori?
Yes. One, experiment anywhere near their children.
How dare you experiment near Caden?
Then two, the suggestion that their children are not gifted.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry, your child is normal.
Absolutely not. Test him again. Aiden is very smart for his age.
In fact, yesterday he told me to fuck off in multiple languages.
Multiple.
It's Finally, John announced probably the biggest addition to the party, the importance of self-governance. The party had previously made clear their desire for smaller government, but John's idea behind getting people to a state of self-governing was a bit different than the typical just let people be version that mostly you get from libertarians. John would state, "I'm not a lawyer, but I'm a natural lawyer. I'm a physicist.
Ew.
My expertise is nature's government. How does nature govern this extremely complex universe? How do we have 2 million mutually interacting species on Earth and mutually nourishing each other? That's nature's self-regulating government." So John's idea behind this form of self-governance seems to stem from the idea that nature doesn't ever do anything to harm itself.
I can't even follow it. What?
So it's the general idea that nature is perfect. And if you take humanity out of the equation, nature just works. From the molecular level to the animals to planets. Which completely ignores the fact that elephants will often get drunk on marula fruit that is fermented on the ground. That elephant seals will just beat the shit out of each other based on who they want to fuck. Or, I don't know, neutron stars, or any sorts of space radiation that can wipe us out before we even realize that something has happened.
I would say nature, you take us out of the equation and nature just works because you don't have humans like this fool just verbally jerking it about nature. It is true. What is the sound of one hand clapping if a tree falls in the forest doesn't make a sound? Bullshit. Take us out of the equation because suddenly there's no one to pontificate.
Well, and to kind of expound on this too, he would talk about how he doesn't want there to be, police in every house and every school and every workplace to get people to be good. His idea is that if you teach people early enough how to take care of yourself and how to be good, people will make that natural choice. And it ignores commercials. It ignores the fact that Iron Brew is the tastiest soda in the world, and I would punch at least half the people in the world for at least a case. Look, we all have our bad habits. We went through DARE, and I'm pretty sure both of us have done a drug.
Yeah, this makes me so upset because I feel like his rationing, and especially in the context of how he is a physicist and therefore a nature lawyer, it's like, oh my God, this is why liberal arts are important, because then maybe someone would have had to slap a John Holmes or John Locke or any kind of philosophy. It's like, we have been down this road, and the road was literally short and angry or long and arcing towards justice. Are you fucking kidding me? This has been debated for millennia.
But have 4,000 people meditated?
Probably.
Yeah. So now I'm ragging on John quite a bit. But the dude did have one statement that I genuinely fucking loved. And if he could have gotten it to a wider audience, it might have actually been enough for him to start to get some momentum for his campaign. So in regards to why anyone should vote for a third party, he said, "I would offer that if the Republicans and Democrats really had solutions to a stagnating economy or the real earning capacity of our workers, if they really had a solution to spiraling healthcare costs or declining education, we would have heard those solutions by now. Only a new seed will yield a new crop." That's gold. I'm sorry. I can read it and know that that's bullshit, but it's also fucking gold.
Fits on a bumper sticker.
But yeah, I mean, that's a great campaign line to run with.
For a third party, yes. I will give him that.
But of course, it wouldn't be a John Hagelin press conference without at least a couple of statements that raise more questions than answers.
Oh no.
The first of which is that John notes a poll in which he finished third with 20% of the vote. This poll was conducted by a company called CityVote and was conducted only in Fayette, Missouri. There's an article in the St. Louis Post-Gazette that confirms that this non-binding popularity poll was actually real. But the weird part is that I can't find anything out there about a company called CityVote. Why would someone conduct an entire poll in Fayette, Missouri, a city with a population of less than 10,000 people at the time? It is literally in the exact fucking middle of Missouri. And if I had to hazard a guess, I think City Vote was the company that the Natural Law Party hired to be their internal polling company, because it just so happens that this poll was conducted after John Hagelin had visited the city a couple of times.
Oh boy.
So the second bit of weirdness is extra weird because it's the first time I've ever heard John Hagelin use shade. He states that Andre Moreau, the 1992 Libertarian nominee for president, had asked John to ditch the Natural Law Party and run as a Libertarian, to which John said, quote, "I don't have the patience. You've been around for 22 years now and you're still trying to win local seats." Now that is a ballsy fucking thing to say to the Libertarian Party, especially since they've actually won races.
Yeah.
They got their first state congressman back in 1978 with Dick Randolph in Alaska. Andre Moreau himself was an elected fucking state congressman from Alaska in 1985. When the best election in your party is a 4.1% last place run, then maybe you need to learn how to say a quick thanks but no thanks.
And also maybe open your eyes a little bit and recognize that it takes growing a bench. Like you have to grow a deep bench, and you do that through congressional seats, like state chambers.
Yeah. And as of right now, the Libertarian Party has a large amount of local officials running shit. Like they have won a lot of local elections. Technically, right now, they have a fucking congressman. You can't be impatient when you're a third party, man.
But then why even get in the game?
I know. This election season would be quite a bit busier for Hagelin. For one, he was actually campaigning. And two, they started campaigning a lot earlier than April.
Oh, they're learning.
I know. It's kind of great. Our little party's growing up.
Oh.
The party had spent $250,000 in 1995 alone on petition gathering efforts for candidates. But it would also become the year that John would go toe-to-toe with the FEC and FCC. I know I've said a lot of shit about John, but this is the story where I am full-on in Hagelin's corner. He is fighting the good fight. He is fucking David and Goliathing this motherfucker. And for the next page, I love John Hagelin.
All right, take me with you.
All right, I'll take you away to a better place. So it all began in 1996 when Rupert Murdoch's Fox channel requested to the FCC to be able to offer free airtime for presidential candidates. So this is something that is really common in a lot of other nations, especially in Europe, where major and third-party candidates are given time to talk about their platform on TV during a prime time. But Rupert wasn't asking for that. He was just asking for Dolan Clinton. Candidates, as they put it, with a realistic chance of winning the election.
Burn!
Murdoch's request was supported widely by both Democrats and Republicans, and so much so that the FCC held a hearing on June 25th to discuss whether or not they would allow an exemption for free time. The vast majority of the invited speakers were overwhelmingly for it, and were very high-ranking people. John McCain was there, Bill Bradley was there, the head of the Democratic Party was there, the former head of the Republican Party was there. And constantly they were talking about how this is a great idea, I'm glad we're doing this, and every other person making a joke about how normally I never agree with this guy, but this is clearly something that's a great idea.
Classic.
But there was one invitee who was against it, John Hagelin. I have no clue who invited him or how he got there.
Seriously.
But I think it probably had to do a lot with the fact that the party's lofty goals had somewhat succeeded, and they became the first third party that year to attain federally matching campaign funds. So when I finally got to Hagelin, he set forth to tell the panel that this is all fucking bullshit, man. He noted that he was all for the idea of free airtime for candidates, but that it was incredibly clear that third parties or independents were not welcome to take part in this. He stated that if the barrier for entry was a reasonable chance for victory and not a hard set of numerical guidelines, that a channel could easily leave out a third party based on their own belief of who could reasonably win. He also turned a number of heads by claiming that the US had become the least democratic democracy in the world, with barriers to participation by third parties that violate the very Helsinki Accord advanced by America throughout the world. After speaking, John wasn't asked a single question for 2 hours. But he did get a chance to reiterate his points for a couple of minutes towards the end.
Oh.
2 months later, the FCC agreed to allow free airtime, but as Hagelin had predicted, it only applied to major parties, even pushing out Ross Perot during his second push for president.
Oh, damn.
The day after the FCC's decision, the Natural Law Party held their party convention and unanimously nominated John Hagelin for president and Mike Tompkins for vice president. So when Hagelin was unanimously nominated, he gave his usual stump speech. But in front of an audience of raucous supporters, the tone was so much different. John had more energy, even told a couple jokes. And once again, He even had a couple of really great quotes. My personal favorite, in regards to exceptionalist rhetoric of, what America used to be, he said, the ability to look back at the past is not vision.
Ooh, all right.
When discussing the prison system and crime, he derided the constant two-party struggle to out-tough each other and said, when Bob Dole at his convention recently said he wanted to go to the root of crime, he wanted to solve crime at its foundation, it sounded good. But when he said the foundation of crime in America was criminals, 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 I had to wonder if this is the depth of the vision and perspective that Republicans and Democrats can give us.
Hey, man, like, where's the lie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's chase that with this God damn it, John moment where he claimed that stress was the root of every problem in America.
Oh, boy.
In this epidemic of stress, we see at the basis of social diseases as well. Domestic violence, family disintegration, crime, drug abuse, declining health in the face of an epidemic of unhealthy habits. You know why that guy hit his wife? He's stressed.
Fuck you.
Yeah. It's like, I kind of see what you're saying, and it's still very wrong, Jonathan.
That moment in every episode of our podcast where it's like,
I gotta disappoint you somehow. So John would close out his acceptance speech by announcing the semi-realization of the party's initial get-out-the-vote plan in 1992. Now, as we said in the last episode, the initial plan was for them to mail out the entire party platform with scientific findings to every home in America.
Every home in America.
It would have cost $29 million, way more than they planned on raising. So what they're doing this year is that they are placing a 16-page insert in every copy of USA Today that detailed the party's platform, along with scientific evidence behind everything they believe. And that was going to happen for one day, the day after the convention. When he said this, I thought this was a lie until I was watching C-SPAN and they fucking showed what it was. It literally looked like they put a baby newspaper inside of a newspaper.
And USA Today is already kind of a baby newspaper.
Look, it's baby's first newspaper needs its, you know how like kids walk around with a baby doll?
Yes.
And they're like, this is my child. It's like, yeah, that's what's happening. I drew graphs on my baby.
Play schools, my first newsletter.
Take that, USA Today. So honestly, things were looking up for the Natural Law Party. They hadn't been able to reach 1,000 candidates in all 50 states, but they were able to top out at 700 candidates in 48 states and Washington, D.C.
Never forget the power of print.
That's... Newspapers used to mean something, damn it.
Before Al Gore invented the internet.
That motherfucker. John had even been able to up his own presidential ballot access to 43 states, worth a potential total of 463 electoral votes. So this time around, statistically, he could actually win. But that's when the greatest villain of all aspirational third-party candidates reared its head, the Commission on Presidential Debates. And so we do have to go on to a bit of a deep dive of history on this. It's not going to be long. Now, televised debates are still a pretty newfangled thing, with the very first happening back in 1960. And the second didn't happen again until 1976 because for some reason, Richard Nixon didn't want to take part in them. So in 1976, the League of Women Voters took the reins and became the de facto organization that ran them. By all accounts, the organization did a very good job running the show. But it hit came up in 1980. You see, that year there was an independent candidate by the name of John Anderson. He was formerly a Republican and had decided to run for president as an independent. A hitch arrived when the League of Women Voters said, we're going to invite John Anderson to the debate because he's polling pretty well. Now, at the time, Jimmy Carter was president, and Jimmy Carter did not want John Anderson there. Jimmy Carter really didn't want to debate at all because he was having a rough time, and Reagan is, if he's good at one thing, it's talking.
Yeah, no, he was trained as one thing, which is to be a studio system movie star.
Exactly.
Very natural in front of the camera.
And so Carter said, look, if you invite John Anderson, I'm not going to be there. To which the League of Women Voters said, fine, bitch, and went ahead with the debate. And what they were going to do was have an empty chair where Carter should have been. But the Carter administration pushed back on that so hard, they're like, fine, we won't. And it ended up being a fairly normal debate between Reagan and Anderson. And eventually they held another debate where Anderson wasn't there and Carter debated Reagan. And Reagan just mopped the fucking floor with him. That was where Reagan unleashed his whole, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? But really, the League of Women Voters handled it pretty fucking well. It was a lot of inner drama. It was complete bullshit, but they handled it, and it went fine. But the problem with this is that both major parties began to grow uneasy, because if they're going to let John Anderson into a debate, who are they going to let in next?
Mm-hmm. Bitches be crazy.
Yeah, women be shopping.
For third-party candidates.
I want to put in a thunder sound effect to that so bad. Oh my god, if this wasn't such a crazy election, that would be a great merch shirt. So in 1987, under the joint sponsorship of both major parties, the Commission on Presidential Debates was formed and pushed the League of Women Voters out. At the press conference announcing the commission, the Democrat and GOP representatives of the commission flat out said they were not likely to ever include third-party candidates in any debates, with Democratic member Paul G. Kirk saying that he personally believed that third-party candidates should be excluded from all debates. In 1988, a shit-covered olive branch was offered to the league stating they could still sponsor the event, but that the campaigns would choose who would be there to debate, who would get to ask questions, and how tall the lecterns would be for the candidates.
Wow. Feminism is fully enraged right now.
The league released a statement saying that they were withdrawing their support and that the demands of the two campaign organizations would perpetuate a fraud on the American voter.
Mm-hmm.
The League of Women Voters has not participated in a debate since.
And look where it got us.
Yep. Now, that's not to say that the commission didn't have a barrier for entry. You can't just say who we feel like, and that's it. But the barrier for entry was a candidate just had to be on enough ballots to win 270 electoral votes. But that was something that no third party seemed capable of in 1988. And then Ross Perot fucking happened. The nasally billionaire Texan turned everything upside down in 1992 by making it onto the debate stage. And in 1996, 3 parties had hit the guidelines for inclusion. Perot's newly formed Reform Party, the Libertarians, and the Natural Law Party. So as we all remember, in the first ever 5-person presidential debate, the commission changed the rules again. This time now, you also have to qualify for federally matching election funds. But if it was just that, then the Natural Law Party would also be allowed to take part. So now, you also have to have endorsements from a member of Congress or a president.
Wow.
So they
I don't even like these third parties.
I know.
Like, I have yet to hear one that's like, you know what? I'm a convert.
I mean, we'll get there.
Will we, Dusty?
I mean, there's at least a couple, yeah.
I look forward to having my heart broken in a different way then.
Yeah. The fun fact, the newest guideline for being able to get onto the debate stage is you have to get 15% of the vote nationally in a poll. So it's essentially now impossible for a third party to be able to get on to the debate stage.
And of course, gatekeepers.
Yeah.
But
you see, that sort of shit was not acceptable to John Hagelin. That's not how natural law works. And
it
this
ain't
man's a natural lawyer.
Yes.
Bird law. So on September 13th, September 13th, 1996, he filed a suit to revoke the tax-exempt status of the commission. You see, one of the details of being a 501c3 is that you have to be a nonpartisan organization. And Hagelin pushed the idea that bipartisanship does not mean nonpartisanship. That clearly these are two parties that are supporting each other.
Mm-hmm.
You should not be tax exempt. Meanwhile, Ross Perot just sued to get onto the ballot. He didn't have time for any sort of fancy lawyer shit. He was just like, no, I need to be on the fucking ballot.
You speak money, yes?
Yeah, or I need to be on the debate stage. Fucking, yeah.
Where's John Hagelin walked into the woods, found a birch tree, stripped the birch off of the trunk, took a quill given to him by a Canadian goose, and wrote down these 99 theses.
Ross Perot walked into the room with an axe and put me on the fucking debate stage. 2 weeks later, the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals found against both Hagelin and Perot, saying that they saw nothing wrong with how the commission was running the debates, and they would just have to accept it. And the next day, the FCC gave approval for the debate to go ahead as scheduled. It had been a much more grueling campaign for the Natural Law Party, but they had done everything they could to get their name out there. Hagelin actually campaigned. He fought. They got their platform in the hands of everyone staying at a Holiday Inn on August 24th, 1993. Hagelin had even gone the whole year avoiding saying the phrase transcendental meditation in any of his stump speeches.
Wow.
And on election day, John Hagelin did better, 3 times better than his previous election. But sadly, 3 times 0.04% still is not very good.
Oh my God.
Despite all the party's work, John Hagelin was only able to amass 0.12% of the vote and finish 7th overall. But it wasn't all bad. Once again, the Natural Law Party had improved quite a bit in their congressional races. For the first time ever, the party attained a 2-digit percentage of the vote when college professor Maurice Rayford won 10.1% of the vote in South Carolina's 2nd District. Granted, this was also because he was only one of 2 candidates that were running, and the other was 14-term Republican Congressman Floyd Spence. But it's still pretty impressive. 3 other candidates would finish with more than 5%, but the big success was that the Natural Law Party had crushed it in Ohio. Of the 18 congressional districts in Ohio, the Natural Law Party candidates finished with more than 3% of the vote in 14 of them. 23 candidates overall would finish with more than 3% of the vote nationwide. While the presidential election was a failure, it was clear that the Natural Law Party was actually growing, and at least in one state, they were growing very quickly. Or at least it should have been.
Oh no.
So there's barely anything out there about the Natural Law Party in Ohio. There's a little bit in the Wayback Machine, but for the most part, it's just, here's our candidates, here are the chair people, done. There's really no history in there. But something happened between 1996 and 1998 that fucked up massively. I have no idea why or how, but in the 1998 midterm election, the Natural Law Party didn't run a single candidate in their new stronghold. Not only that, but of the 10 best congressional performers, only Maurice Rayford ran again. Either the money was gone or they were too focused on Hagelin's next run in 2000. But the party went and wasted all the potential momentum that they had gained after a year of extremely hard work.
This feels like the premise for a really weird and niche horror movie where it's just like all of a sudden, like all the candidates of this one party just disappear.
My God, yeah, it's such a weird trend for this party that they do really well in Arizona, never run there again. They do really well in Ohio, suddenly no one's there.
Why are you scared of success,
It's
Natural Law Party?
Genuinely weird, and I don't know if it is the fact that they're just constantly sending people out of Iowa to run in other places, and they're like, we don't want to go back. We left Ohio for a reason, to be in Fairfield, Iowa, and meditate.
I'm just really anxious, and it helps me.
I did you a favor, now I'm done.
Just want to do some yoga.
Oh my God, yes. The only real bright spot of 1998 came in California's 48th district, where business owner Sharon K. Miles finished 2nd out of 3 candidates and gained 12.8% of the vote, becoming the first Natural Law Party candidate to get both double-digit percentages and to beat another candidate in the process. Fellow Californian Adrian Pelton would also get 10% of the vote in the 52nd district race, finishing 3rd out of 3. And then, as is tradition, she never ran again.
This is so weird. Is this like, maybe it's one of those things akin to Mormon 2-year abroad trips where it's just like, all right, as part of transcendental meditation, like you must leave Fairfield, run a campaign,
yes.
Then you will become one with the light, or you can get married in our boob-shaped
You'll be able to meditate
palace.
2 inches higher off the ground.
Yes.
The boob domes. I forgot about the boob domes.
But first you need to go to District 47.
Have fun. Who knows? Your son might get a birthday cake out of it. Internationally, the party wasn't doing that much better. Despite having branches at this time in 74 countries, the greatest success of the Natural Law Party had gained was 1 election win in India and 1 win in Croatia.
Croatia, okay.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. I can't find out who it was, how long they were in government. But yeah, 1 in India, 1 in Croatia, and that's it. So 2000 was starting to look like a make or break year. Once again, John Hagelin would lead the ticket, and once again, the party's plan for success would change. 1992 was all about the ideas winning, not the candidates. 96 was, if you can't join them, beat them. And 2000 was, if you can't beat them, then get someone else to join.
What?
In 1999,
The Beatles?
Oh my God. So in 1999, they started this idea where John had attempted to create an alliance with the Green Party. But that all fell apart when materials leaked of John claiming that he was the new head of a Green Reform Natural Law Coalition. When the Greens found out about this, they told him to fuck clean off. So John now had to look for more chaotic pastures. By 2000, the Reform Party was a complete fucking mess, which is sad since Ross Perot had only just founded it in 1996.
Oh, I forget what party he was part of.
Yeah, initially he was independent, then he started the Reform Party to kind of make things easier, and because people wanted to run with him because they liked what he supported. But in 4 years' time, Perot decided not to run for president for a third time, and suddenly a party with a guaranteed $12.5 million in federally matched funds became completely open. We circled a number of candidates, including the previously mentioned John Anderson, Congressman Ron Paul, and Governor Jesse Ventura. Jesse Ventura would turn it down, though, because he said there's no way he's going to run for an office while he's still occupying a current job he owns. For a little bit, Donald Trump ran, but it was much more of a publicity stunt than anything else. That being said, he did win the party's primary in California, but he would drop out later, calling the party a, quote, total mess. Because every once in a while, you gotta be right.
Like a stop clock.
This left the party with one major candidate. God damn it, why does he keep coming back on this podcast? It's Pat Buchanan. The cockroach of our podcast.
Oh, yeah, the unflushable turd.
Look, every single time we get the Orkin man in here and he's like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. You're talking politics. You're going to get Buchanan's.
He's going to pop up.
So Pat had been drafted to join the Reform Party in 1999 and officially left the Republican Party soon after. For many in the party, it seemed like a huge get. Perot's political advisor Russ Verney began winning over people in the party to Buchanan's side, including party leader Pat Choate and Marxist activist and NYC community leader Lenora Fulani. In an attempt to ease the worries of the non-hard right party members, Buchanan promised not to mention social issues at all, and to make his entire campaign about the economy and previously settled Reform Party ideals. However, once Pat had received the bulk of the party's support, he went right back on his word and began his culture war bullshit all over again. It was looking like Buchanan would be the only candidate running. That is until John Hagelin threw his hat into the ring. Longtime party members immediately viewed him as their only hope against Buchanan. And even people who had initially supported Buchanan, such as Verney, switched their report to the more even-headed Hagelin, complaining that Buchanan was just using the party for its money, rather than actually believing what the party stood for. Even Perot himself said that he very much preferred John Hagelin to Pat Buchanan, but despite this, Perot would go on and endorse George W. Bush. And so part of the problem was that Pat Buchanan was bringing in a lot more people into the Reform Party. People ranging from former Republicans to, goddammit, this again, David fucking Duke.
Yeah, listen, whoever said you can catch more flies with honey than vinegar, I'm just like, did not work in politics.
No, not at all. And so whether the old guard of the Reform Party liked it or not, Pat was taking over, and there was nothing they could do about it. Pat's biggest move in accomplishing his takeover of the party came from a leaked email on August 2nd of 2000. His campaign had gotten a hold of an agreement between the old guard of the Reform Party and John Hagelin, and their plan to merge both parties into one. This would help the National Law Party boost into a much greater and wealthier entity than before, and Buchananites flipped their fucking shit. This also didn't help that it came 8 days before the party's official nominating convention.
Oh no.
So for a full week, you had Buchanan supporters in the Reform Party saying, it's not your choice whether these parties merge, we get to vote on it. So 1 week later, both factions met in Long Beach, California for the official convention. Now for what happened, it all depends on who you ask. If you ask the Buchanan side, they got the most votes, and the Hagelin side were just sore losers. If you ask the Hagelin folks, Pat and his sister Babe Buchanan stuffed the mail-in ballot with 500,000 names to all but guarantee John Hagelin had no chance of winning. The Hagelin faction would have an opportunity to contest the results, but only with a 2/3 vote by the delegates to overrule the initial vote. The Buchanan folks ensured this wouldn't happen by barring anyone who supported Hagelin from entering the building. Either way, the Hagelin camp left and held their own convention. And at 2 separate conventions, 2 separate men accepted the Reform Party nomination.
Oh my God. Oh no.
This would kick off a whole world of lawsuits where both candidates declared themselves the official nominee, but through most of these lawsuits, Pat Buchanan would win. It should be said, though, that 2 states decided who got the Reform candidate nomination on the ballot just by picking names out of a hat. Pat Buchanan won Iowa, and Hagelin won Montana. But despite being distracted by his attempted takeover of the Reform Party, John Hagelin was able to get on the ballot as a natural law candidate in 38 states, after unanimously gaining the nomination once again on September 2nd. It had been a chaotic strategy, but in a way, Hagelin was able to gain more supporters than he had in previous elections, at least in theory. Turns out the number of people in the Reform Party who would vote for Hagelin to be the head of their party was a lot more than the number of people who would actually vote for him to be president. And once again, John Hagelin would finish 7th overall, but this time he only got 0.08% of the vote. The party would only run congressional candidates in 7 states. But they would once again get a new high watermark for congressional candidates as Josette Green of Florida got 13.9% of the vote in the 10th district. But by now, the Maharishi had had enough embarrassment. Following Hagelin's poor showing, Mahesh pulled his support of the party in America and all around the world. The various branches disintegrated. But many members of the National Law Party in America would keep it going, with John Hagelin at the head.
Keep the dream alive.
But at this time, Mahesh was also beginning his new grift, his new idea, in that he established the global country of world peace. This would be a nonprofit that also happened to act like its own borderless country.
Oh no.
It has a leader, it has its own currency called the ROM, and it has its own capital city, Mahesh Vedic City. Now, if you had to guess where that city was, you'd probably be wrong, because the answer is 4 miles north of Fairfield, Iowa. And so one of the things that the global country of world peace has started doing is buying up property, because it's kind of hard to be a country when you don't have land. And so for the past decade or so, they have been trying their best to create their own country. In November of 2000, they attempted to buy land in Suriname, to which the country said no. They also offered to buy a parcel of land on the island nation of Tuvalu, which the nation rejected as well after serious consideration. They described what they would have bought there as a Vatican-like sovereign city-state near the airport, in which they would have paid $2 million a year.
You gotta be near the airport.
It's true. Look, Mahesh doesn't like long trips from the airport. In 2002, they tried to establish their world headquarters on the island of Rota, which is a part of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. But they decided they liked being a Commonwealth and didn't really want to risk pissing off America, so they said no. Their final attempt came when they went to Costa Rica, where they allegedly offered each family on the Talamanca reservation $250 per month for the right to appoint a king. It was viewed was going to be their attempt to try to take over the area to create their own nation. And after that, the authorities of Costa Rica kicked them out of the country.
Yeah.
I'm also going to send you a picture of the robes that they wear.
No, why robes?
Yep, the leader of the country, Tony Nader, has gold everything. It is a gold robe with a beige scarf and silk and a gold hat. They very much want to be a country.
Oh, but that's not how you should do it.
Nope.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
After the 2000 election, the party would run a spattering of candidates. None of them really did well. In the 2004 election, John Hagelin would not run, but the party would officially endorse Democratic Congressman Dennis Kucinich. However, he would drop out of the race after the Democratic National Convention, and the National Law Party was left without a candidate.
Mm.
After this, John Hagelin would dissolve the Natural Law Party officially. But we can't really be too sad for John Hagelin, because eventually he would get everything he wanted.
What does that mean?
In 2006, John Hagelin would form the Invincible America Assembly, which had a goal of bringing 3,500 yogic flyers to Fairfield. And the idea behind this was that would be enough people to lower crime, if not stop crime, all over America. They would eventually claim that this was the exact reason that the Dow Jones average set a record high.
No, pick one. Economy or murder?
They did. They picked economy.
Ugh.
So in 2007, John Hagelin would be given the title of Raja of Invincible America from the Maharishi and officially become the head of America of the global country of world peace.
This is the dumbest way to become president.
Oh, it gets dumber.
No!
So the year after he was declared Raja of Invincible America, John Hagelin was informed that he would become the nominated president of the yet-to-be-built Maharishi Central University in Smith Center, Kansas. However, tragedy was about to strike. Maharishi finally died.
Oh my God.
After his death, plans for the university left, as well as what seems to be creating the capital of the global country of world peace in Kansas. But things wouldn't be bad forever for John Hagelin, because in 2016, he was finally given a presidency that would mean something. And he was made president of the Maharishi University of Management in Fairfield, Iowa.
University of Management, not the university, just one of the schools.
Oh no, the official name of the university now is the Maharishi University of Management. It's the whole thing now.
Oh my God.
A sect of the Natural Law Party still exists to this day in Michigan. In 2018, they ran candidates for governor, lieutenant governor, the University of Michigan Board of Regents, Michigan State University Board of Regents, and U.S. Senate. None of them scored higher than 0.74%. And that is the story of the Natural Law Party.
Oh, my home state. Why?
Una, you're sitting in darkness. Clearly that's a good sign. Oh, man. So can you believe that this was a party that I actually took seriously when I was 18? Or 16?
No, this is exactly the party one should take seriously at 16. But maybe not when you're 40 or 50 and with a very established physics background.
Ah, man. But yeah, thanks for coming along on this ride. I hope you feel enlightened. I hope you feel knowledgeable of the world around you.
Oh my God. I feel so centered. I can't wait to do some Bikram yoga when things open up again.
Well, thank y'all for joining us this week. I can't wait for y'all to join us in probably 2 weeks. I mean, this has been, ideally it'd be great per week, but look, this ain't our full-time jobs and we got to do what we do. But next time, we're going to be talking about one of the most recent third-party candidates that we possibly can.
Oh my gosh.
It's election season, and
my
news
gosh.
means I talk about people.
Oh, is it Justin Amash?
No.
Okay.
Man, that would be, I mean, Justin would be really interesting because he's definitely one of those people you're like, oh yeah, fuck you.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, y'all. See you next time on Gadfly. Gadfly is a production of Added Serotonin. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at GadflyPod.